Welcome to another episode of Two Beaners and the Pod.
We're wearing the same outfits because we're filming one episode right after another.
Yeah, it's the same day.
Yeah. Like an hour.
But even if I want to wear the same outfit every day, I will.
He does do that.
I do it because this organic cotton stuff, it's not cheap and I'm going to wear it out. But anyways, welcome to another episode. As we've mentioned previously, on this episode we're going to talk things soccer, things life, from a player perspective, from a coach perspective, from a fan perspective. For this episode, we want to talk about the role and importance that a coach has on your performance and your development. So we'll talk about the different stages from our point of view. And right now, our coaching is private, so it's very one-on-one. We get to analyze from the outside. We're not working with multiple kids at the same time or multiple athletes at the same time. It's very individualized. It's very specific. But we've played at the youth academy level. We've played at the professional academy level. We've played at the collegiate level. We've played at the professional level. So we're going to talk about the different experiences that we've had. And yeah, start us off. With the young, I guess the first coach that left a mark on you. And you can talk about the positive and not so positive.
Okay.
Actually, pause. Sorry. Not very well structured. But let's first lay out youth soccer, whether it's paid for, like club soccer, or professional. I think from the outside looking in, take my opinion with a grain of salt, there has to be more emphasis on the development of the athlete, yes, but also the person.
Clock it.
Shout out to Eva. The person. Reality is a very small percentage of the kids that play youth soccer are going to play professionally.
1% is a stat. You can look it up.
Where'd you see this?
Google.
Okay. We're trusting Neil for this.
1.6 something percent.
So it's a very, very small percentage. With that being said,
I was part of it.
Congratulations. Okay. With that being said, any sport in general is going to teach you discipline, is going to teach you teamwork. So that's not to discourage people like, oh, you shouldn't, no. And who says you can be part of that 1.6%? But from the outside looking in, I do think we need to be doing a better job. Also from the experiences that we've lived in developing people and athletes, which from my very limited time at a youth club here in Austin, I also see the challenges and limitations in how much influence or how much you can contribute to young kids and teenagers in very critical stages of their development when you carry the task of coaching in my experience, it's like you have to coach this age group and this age group and this age group. So it's back to back to back. And then on the weekends, you have to be at this game and this game and this game. So you're kind of spread thin. And financially, you're also not, and this is not to shit on anyone or bash anyone, you're not compensated enough to be at a place where you're like, oh, I have everything taken care of. Like, you still have bills, you still have responsibilities. So I do feel like youth coaches also carry a lot and don't necessarily get compensated the best. We need to find solutions.
Yeah.
But that's the intro to this.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's unfortunately, there's more emphasis on the performance rather than the development, especially in youth soccer. But going back to your question, I've had coaches that have left more of an impact as like on a personal level than a soccer level. and then there's some that have done it on both. And I've also been on a side where I'm the coach's favorite, and I see how he treats the ones that aren't his favorite, and how he treats me. And I've been on the other side of being one of the relegated ones, and then seeing how he treats the others. But yeah.
And this happens from youth to the professional level. I want to give a case because I'm a fan of this team, and there's many more examples. But let's lay out the two sides. You have a coach, a young coach in Xabi Alonso, who previously took a team who had never in their history won the league. He takes that team playing beautiful football. They win the league. They go to Europa League final. So clearly this guy knows what he's doing. And then you have a team like Real Madrid. And you have players like Fede Valverde, Vinicius Jr., Bellingham. Pause. You can share your opinion, but hold on. Who 2-3 years ago won La Liga, won the Champions League. So clearly these players know what they're doing. So you combine these two, right? We're not there. We can only speculate. Was there a clash of personalities? Did the ideas not mesh together? But during this time, not only Vinicius, because Vinicius, I feel like is an easy target, but you have Fede Valverde, who was heavily criticized for his performance, for his statements in press conferences saying that he didn't enjoy playing right back. And there's all this talk, there's all this bashing of players saying they can't perform.
And divas.
This and that, divas, X, Y, and Z. That coach leaves, next coach comes in. You look at Fede Valverde, scores a game winner against Celta de Vigo, scores a hat trick before the first half ends in the Champions League round of 16 against Manchester City. Vinicius is performing. So even at the highest level, there's a heavy influence on your performance from the coach. That doesn't mean the coach is bad. That doesn't mean the coach is wrong.
I mean, I will say though, a coach can first of all, make or break a player. But if he has, I mean, we haven't been coaches, but I can only imagine it's a hard thing to do. But to get all your players pushing in the same direction is something really hard to do. But if you can do that, I mean, you can also, oh shit, a bird just flew into our window.
Continue. I wonder the mic.
Hopefully you heard the little bump. But like, for example, a coach that was there previously, Ancelotti, that he was heavily criticized of playing friendship ball. That they wouldn't play like a single system whatsoever or whatever, but they want everything that they want. We all know what they want, so we don't have to say it. But then you have players like Gareth Bale that were standouts, Eden Hazard that were standouts, but with Ancelotti, like, they didn't seem to be those players. So
it's also different stages of the career. Because previously, like the first spell of Ancelotti being at Real Madrid, Bale performed at a high level, and the whole team performed at a high level. But I get your point.
Yeah.
And especially for kids that have aspirations of playing pro, playing college, or just enjoying the sport, fortunately and unfortunately, you're going to come across a lot of coaches with different personalities and different ideas that you might fall into. Like, they might like you as a player, as a person, or they might not. And now that we can sit on the other side of that journey, the more you fight it, the more you go against it, the more you talk trash, the more you become negative about it, the more it's gonna affect you.
It's gonna come back to bite you in the ass, I'll tell you that.
And we've lived it through experience. We're like, and you can be right, you can be 100% right in saying that a coach is unfair, that he's mistreating you, that he doesn't know what he's talking about. You could potentially be right, but as long as you're playing for that coach, it doesn't serve your best purpose or your highest purpose to fight against it. That doesn't mean you should just take being criticized or being humiliated, because sometimes it will happen. But the more respectful you can be, the more you can focus on yourself and how you can improve, the better it's going to be for you.
Yeah. Well, one thing our parents told us growing up that we clearly didn't listen to.
Take to heart.
Oh my God, you just spit on me.
My bad.
But was the coach that you have at the time, he's always going to be right, no matter what. And honestly, looking back at it, it's true. Like, you try to change his mind, you try to talk to him, like, no matter what you do, if he has his mind made up, there's nothing you can do. So, I mean, and I also, like, one piece of advice that I got from Pumita when I was in my year that I wasn't getting any playing time, I wasn't seeing the pitch. He told me, take every training as if it's your game and train for yourself. What does that mean? Like, train for yourself in the sense that in case another team calls you right now, you're ready to leave, like, on the spot. You're healthy, you're not lacking game fitness, you're not in bad shape. So you're technically, like, still sound with the ball. So if you're in that situation, which hopefully none of you are, especially not at this age, for the coach the kids we train, I think that's the best advice I could give a kid, at least.
Yeah, and from my experiences, again, playing professional, playing collegiate, and playing at professional academies, you would think that the people in positions of leadership and authority are prepared for it, but oftentimes it's just of a candidate being available and being willing to take the job, and that's unfortunate because you can have a really good coach that can influence you as a human being, and in our case, we've had a few coaches that there's lessons that go beyond the pitch that stay with you forever. And you can also have someone that is in a position where we've experienced it as well, where it's like, I'm the coach and things are done as I say, whether you like it or not. And there's times where we honestly encourage respectful communication. If you don't agree with something, or if you would like to know what you can improve on, I think you're in your right as a player to ask the coach without questioning his authority or without
being confrontational,
asking what you can do better, what you need to improve on. We've experienced and we've heard cases as well where players do that and they're still getting very runaround answers. And in those cases, again, the best you can do is focus on yourself. In life, sometimes you're gonna have to eat shit, and it doesn't mean that you should, but sometimes if you want to move on, you just have to eat shit. And just one thing I wish I would have had more present in mind is that, especially at youth soccer, seasons are very cyclical and temporary. So at one age group, you might have a coach that doesn't necessarily like you. The next age group, the coach might fall in love with you and love you as a player, and you're gonna have a totally different experience. But if you are disrespectful, or if you do something to mess up your development, coaches talk, they can badmouth you, they can affect your career. And that's at a youth level. At a professional level,
it gets bad.
Things get a little bit more shady and messed up, and it's part of the game. If you want to live out this dream, it comes with the good and the bad and the ugly.
Exactly.
You want to talk a little bit?
I mean, I don't want to...
You don't have to say names or or teams?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna spill the whole soup. No, just like my second year playing professional, I didn't play at all the first trimester of the season, where we were told, the coach said at the beginning of the season, hey guys, I like to fully rotate my squad. This coach, mind you, he started as a youth coach, as a developing coach. So he said that he'd like to give youth players a chance and bring players up from the academy. And at the time, I was the first ever signing from academy to pro. So I was like, well, this is perfect, a perfect setting for me, a perfect environment. First trimester, I don't play whatsoever. Assistant coach comes up to me like, hey, like, don't worry, your time will come, blah, blah, blah. I'm like noticing that's not happening. So I go to the coach and ask to speak to him. He tells me, because we had trackers, GPS trackers. He's like, your numbers are the lowest, you're the youngest on the team, and you run like a vet, which at the time I took as a compliment. But he's like, you run like a vet, you hardly run, I don't know why, your numbers are low. So I start running more in practice. I try to get my numbers up. I did what I thought was senseless running or pointless running. But if that's what my coach wanted, that's what I did.
He told you, get your numbers up, now you're funny up.
Still, that's what I did.
Bars.
Yeah, sure.
And then?
And then second trimester comes. Still haven't seen the field, the pitch whatsoever. I wasn't even getting rostered anymore at this point. So I go into his office like, hey coach, like, I spoke to the strength and conditioning coach. He told me my numbers have been up. I'm not gonna say I was one of the ones running the most, but they're definitely up from what they were, and they were like up there with the defenders on the team. He's like, honestly, like, you don't look ready, like physically you're like very underdeveloped, blah blah blah. It's like, okay. So I go to the strength and conditioning coach. Hey, can like we make a plan for me to gain muscle mass, blah blah blah. I gained 5 pounds like in the span of like 2-3 months.
5 pounds of muscle.
5 pounds of muscle, exactly. And then like the last month of the season, like, or not the last month, but like right before going into like the final run before playoffs to see if we made it or not, both our center backs got injured. So he started putting the center mid as a center back, as one of them, and then converted fullback into center back. Whatever. Everybody gets injured. Everybody who could play my position gets injured. So I go to my coach. I'm like, hey, like, they're all injured. We're still at a point where we can risk a little bit without like, because I didn't think I was going to cost points, but clearly he did. So I was like, we're still at a point where if there's a mistake, we have time to make up for it, rather than throwing me into like playoffs or whatever. Silly me thinking that he was going to do that, right? But he's like, honestly, I don't trust you. Your teammates don't trust you. The captains don't trust you. Nobody trusts you. So you're just wasting your time, basically. So put my head down, kept showing up to training. I was training with the injured players. Mind you, I was 100% healthy and fit. Whatever.
Coach said my boy's a liability.
Yeah, basically.
I got insurance for that.
Turns out that season ends. He tells me that he wishes me nothing but the best, that I'm a great human, blah, blah, blah. He let me date his daughter if I wanted to. No, thank you. I go try out for a team where I knew the assistant from my first year, that him as a human being, and as a player, I learned a lot from. But I go try out. After the week, he tells me I did a very good job. he was only the assistant at the time, so he's like, there's so much I can do and say. I know the coach, the head coach, is looking for a different profile, but if it were up to me, I'd sign you. But he's like, let me talk to your agent. So he gives my agent a call. I'm still at the airport waiting. My agent gets back to me like in 5-10 minutes. He's like, hey, he asked me not to tell you this, but I really think I should. Blah, 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 coach. Wait, no. He said, they asked for you on loan 3 times last season. Like 3 different times throughout the season, where I'm imagining were like the trimesters that I was speaking to my coach based on like parts of the season or whatever. He's like, all 3 times he said, no, I'm not going to send him, and I don't need him. Like, I'm not using him other for numbers and in training. Like, that's basically all I need him for. So that just goes to show. Also, Houston Dynamo was like supposedly scouting me for like that entire season. They find out I'm a free agent. They contact my agent. They're in touch, and then my agent tries to reach back, and they're like, "Oh no, someone from RGV gave really bad references about him, so we decided not to follow up." So no matter what you do, if you're not on a coach's good side, this can happen. But it requires a lot of resiliency, I will say.
We shared the same coach.
Yeah.
In my experience,
you know he's a jackass too then.
I could have been playing World Cup.
You see?
No, I wasn't for that. No, yeah, but there's some things that you don't understand, you don't comprehend, and especially at an age where you're still finding yourself. You would, at the very least, hope that someone can guide you, help you, because they're older, they're more experienced. But if they can't do that, like, at the very least, don't bring them down. And I think there's so much of that, like, for whatever reasons, they're beyond my scope of comprehension. I remember coming back from the national team pool and having my confidence through the roof and being comfortable that I was back home. So that combination was killer for me. But I was like, okay, I need to improve this and that. But I saw that I do this really well and I can do this better than most of these kids. So I get back to training like the first weeks, and for whatever reason, the time at the coach, which was a youth club that I was paying to fucking train at and play at, we're doing shooting drills or whatever, and I missed the target. But mind you, running full speed, going through, I was super motivated, super motivated.
Locked in, you're locked in.
Yeah, I was locked in coming back from that experience. And then, out of nowhere, like, who do you think you are? Like, I would mess up on a drill, or not mess up a drill, but like mess up a pass or mess up a shot. Who do you think you are? You came back so, how would you say in English?
Like, big-headed.
Big-headed or arrogant. You're so arrogant. Who do you think you are? And this and that. Like, damn, what the fuck? And then, day after day after day, just, I was 14 at the time. You're this, you're that. I played the worst ball of my life. It was just weeks and weeks of being berated and constantly shat on for no apparent reason. And looking back on it, it's like, you know what? I'm thankful it happened. I think to a fault, sometimes we're too nice to our clients, but I just never responded to bringing someone down. So the last thing we want to do is bring our clients down. Of course, we want to talk and acknowledge what we can improve, but I never understood just from a older position, just shitting on someone completely.
Also, that like whether you like it or not, you're in a position of power that you can easily influence someone's thoughts or someone's confidence. But I honestly, like, I can't wrap my head around, like, how can you make it a point to want to mess with someone's confidence so bad that you want, like, in my case, basically wanted me to retire. Like he wanted to end my career. Or at least that's how I see it. Because I don't see any other reason as to why he wouldn't send me out on loan. He wouldn't have to pay for my salary anymore. There's an empty apartment that you can use to bring another player in, another slot for another player.
Yeah, if he was so against you, it would have been easier for him to get rid of you.
Yeah, so I don't know what it was. I mean, yeah.
But that's just to say how much a coach can influence on kids' confidence and how their confidence can shape not just their performance, but their life. And I think that's something we definitely try to take into consideration. If you're a youth player and you're not getting the feedback that you want from your coach, you're not, you don't feel like you're developing, this isn't to replace, and obviously I'm biased because this is what we do for a living, but I think this is where there's huge benefits in hiring a personal coach or private coach that can tell you like, hey, you're doing this well and you're not, and you can improve on this, and this is what we're going to focus on. Because if there's already questionable coaches with questionable integrity, there's also so much they can do when they have to take care of 25 kids and they have to go over technical things. There's only so much they can do. So if you're serious about your development, we do offer our services, but this is not a commercial. But even just having someone to talk to that has been in those experiences, because sometimes your parents don't understand, and parents are like, no, if you're not playing, it's because either the coach doesn't know anything and they'll feed that into their kid's head, and they can be right, but the more your kid is against your coach, the more your coach is going to be against you. Or they're telling you like, no, you just have to work harder.
Or try talking to your coach, and your coach already doesn't like you, so the last thing he wants is for you to talk to him. But like you said, we do think like maybe I fucked up or I messed up going 3 times into his office to ask what I can improve on or what I can change. But like, just like asking like, hey coach, like especially youth soccer shouldn't be an issue, which unfortunately it is, but it shouldn't be an issue for you to approach your coach and ask him what you need to improve on, in my opinion.
100%.
But yeah, unfortunately, those types of jackasses are still getting paid and still making a living off of it.
And we did want to make it an episode because we feel like it's very prevalent in all levels of soccer, even professional soccer. Like I could share some halftime speeches that I got from some coaches that would have you scratching your head. But just like there's those experiences, there's also very positive experiences. I remember the first time I had actual dialogue with a coach was Gabi Moreno, Martin's brother, and that was the first time I was like, oh shit, like you can actually talk to a coach and he can tell you things beyond like, oh, you just need to work harder. Yeah. And I remember wanting to play for him and wanting to run through a wall for him just because he gave me so much confidence. He put his confidence in me. I remember we were preparing for a tournament or something, so it was like a very short span. But I traveled from Laredo to Monterrey to train, and the first days they were doing like preseason, so it was a lot of conditioning and physical, and I was like coming off finishing the season, so I did the first day, and then like the second day, like I had some some discomfort in the hammy, so I was like, hey, like I don't want to do this, but I'm just feeling, and he's like, no, Rochita, it's you and 10 more, whatever you want. And he's like, nah, I'm just kidding with you. Like, take care of your body, make sure you recover, make sure you rest. He's like, all I ask is you're ready for the weekend. And the weekend, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Very clear instructions, very clear on what I need to do. The weekend comes, like, if you're going to treat me like that, I'm going to show off for you.
Yeah, I'll die for you. No,
I don't know about that, but...
I mean, no, but there is coaches where... I feel the better coaches are the ones who treat you more as a human than as a player, or because obviously you're a player first or whatever to them, but like for example that he wants you to be healthy, which maybe he wants you to be healthy for the game, but also it translates where he wants you to be okay, like he doesn't want you to be hurt or so and so. So I mean, I feel like also like a lot of players that speak highly of Ancelotti, of Pep, or like they look out for you as a human being before they do as a number to them as a player. So I feel that, especially like with injuries, that I don't know how it was with you, but in my case it was like scared to say I was feeling something. He was like, oh, he's faking an injury, or he doesn't want to train, or like he's being lazy. But just to have the confidence to have that communication with a coach, like I think speaks highly of a coach.
100%. To wrap this episode up, for players that feel like they're not being developed, or they feel like their playing time is unfair. Obviously, as a player, you're always going to play. You're always going to want to play, and that's not always the case. And the thing that we would advise the most is to look inward, see what you can improve on, what you can do better, not just in games, but in training, not just technical and tactical, but also your attitude, how you show up, body language. But beyond that, if you're in a frustrating situation, if you don't like where you're at, we can share stories about having experiences where we treated unfair, or at least in our perspective. So we understand. So if you want to reach out, if you want to just talk about it, because sometimes it helps to talk about it and set up a plan, or just have something in motion. Because like I said, you can talk to your parents, and sometimes parents are like, if they didn't play sports, they don't necessarily understand what it feels like to ride the bench or to work your ass off in training and then not get chances. But we want to give back. We want to be able to contribute. So if you feel like you're in a certain position like this, feel free to reach out. If there's anything we can do to help, we'll gladly do it. But that is a wrap for this episode. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate you, and we love you.